Well, sometimes things don't go according to plan. Now, I know some of you may have saw the last episode when I mentioned that we're going to have Ring of Honor and TNA. Well, dumb luck me, there's no TNA. If you guys may know, some of their shows were taking place in the same general vicinity where we are having, of course, Hurricane Helen, which has caused a lot of problems in the regions in the southeast. But however, that does not mean we have to end things there. I will continue, of course, to review Ring of Honor no matter what. So we are focusing on that. So we're going to focus, of course, on the matches that involve, of course, a proving ground match and, of course, the the Ring of Honor World Title match. So we got plenty of matches to go for. But however, I decided to do something very interesting. I decided to review two back-to-back events from last month featuring the British promotion RevPro. The first one is, of course, the annual tournament, the British J Cup, and of course, live in Sheffield September 2024. So they took place back to back last month. So we're going to go from A to Z, and we're going to see how things progress in those events. And then, of course, we are going to cap up our episode with some news updates to give you guys updates what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling views from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, I can put it either on the next episode or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-timing news update to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Nike Sayaka watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have set aside. So I think it's time to raise the bat signal, or should I say the DWZ signal, and let's begin with our very first review with RevPro, the British J Cup. Okay, RevPro, the British J Cup. Now you may have heard of the Super J Cup, which is a one-day tournament of junior heavyweight competitors in New Japan, which was created by Jushin Thunder Liger many years ago. So the RevPro has the same thing too with the British J Cup. So it only has a one-day tournament. We have four first round matches and then the final, which is a four-way match. But we do have some non-title matches on this one. Now some of you may question, what does the winner get a shot of the winning the British J Cup? Well, that's the easiest part, which is the undisputed British Cruiserweight Championship, currently being held by Will Carver. So basically, we have many wrestlers taking place. Now let's begin with the British J Cup first round. Our first match, we have Lio Rush versus Barbaro Carvenario. So you would think in some capacity. Now, those who know this, Lio Rush has recently won this tournament before, and this was back in 2021. So that sets it up right there. But yeah, it was a pretty good match. Not gonna lie. I mean, but he was able to defeat Barbaro when he applied the final hour, aka the Frog Splash, and just like that, he proceeded into the finals. Now, this is the battle of Kid Jim, which is Lycos 1 and Lycos Kid Lycos 1 and Kid Lycos 2. Basically, it was very, very difficult because Kid Lycos 1 had the most motivation to try to win by putting out aggression. Basically, that's what he was trying to do to ensure he goes in. But every trick that he has, every playbook, every move that he did, nothing worked. But Kid Lycos 2 was able to pick up the win when he pinned him, and was very surprisingly. But I thought Kid Lycos 2, after Kid Lycos 1, when he lost, I thought he was going to turn on his own brother. And just like that, they hug it out like true partners that they are, knowing that, yes, one lost, one continued on. So we'll see where that leads. Now, our next match, we have Cameron Kai versus Robbie Eagle. No, yeah, Robbie Eagles. So many of you may think in your minds that Robbie Eagles has this one just because I mentioned the name. Well, I would like to say, but because I haven't been watching RevPro that much, basically it was showing that Cameron Kai has been becoming the new favorite person to hopefully win the undisputed British Cruiserweight title. So that's always been the case. And that's exactly what happened. But he was able to pick up the win when he applied a springboard cutter onto Robbie Eagles and pick up the win. Now, our next match, we have Dante Martin, straight up from AEW, taking on Robbie X. So I thought the match was pretty good. Now, many people who were attending the show looked more like Robbie X was the fan favorite to win. And personally, I don't blame them. I mean, I get it. I mean, if I know many of you who are AEW fans as well on this channel will say Dartmouth should win this one. I mean, yeah, to me it didn't matter, but it was a pretty good match. But however, it was Dante Martin who walked away with the win when he applied like his version of the Frog Splash onto him to proceed into the finals. So we'll get to that later. Now, our next two matches are non-tournament matches. We have Zozaya versus JJ Gale. I thought this match was pretty great. It was very aggressive, very gruesome. But however, it was, of course, JJ Gale who was intending to win by every means necessary. Now, I'm not talking about, low blowing, that sort of thing. That was not something in his character. But, however, it was, of course, Zozaya who picked up the win when he applied the Avalanche Death Valley Driver to pick up the win. So I thought it was a pretty good, solid win for him, of course, and he just got it that way. Now, our next match. Now, this one is a very interesting one. We got the debut of One Called Manders. Yes, that's right. One Called Manders versus the current undisputed British heavyweight champion, Luke Jacobs. Now, if by any means necessary, Manders defeats Jacobs, he gets a shot of the title. But however, this was a Haas fight you wouldn't expect. And I thought it was a pretty good one, because they were going back and forth, no matter what. But in the end, it was Luke Jacobs with his lariat, strong enough to put him down once and for all. So basically, it was a sad, disappointing debut for him, for Manders, but he gave Jacobs some respect that he deserves. Now for our final of the British J Cup. Now, the first participant that came out was Cameron Kai. But however, someone does not want to contend with him being involved or winning the entirety of the tournament, and that is the current undisputed British Cruiserweight champion, Will Carver, Kavir, or whatever his name is. He attacked him, and of course that snake, that sniveling weasel, Gideon Gray, was laughing. Well, hope he laughs his ass off when someone beats his ass up. thought it was funny. But however, of course, the show must go on. So Lio Rush, Kid Lycos 2, and Dante Martin decided to make his appearance. But however, Cameron Kai's like saying, no, I'm not going to ruin my chances. He wants to win it so he can get a shot of the Cruiserweight title, which Will Carver will not acknowledge that. But however, the show must go on. But because of that, because of Kai's injury that he obtained thanks to that idiot Carver, Kid Lycos took the advantage by using the schoolboy onto him. And just like that. So basically, the injury was just too much. But however, Lycos 2 was eliminated by Dante Martin when he applied his frog splash, and then it became down between Leo and Dante. But only one can survive. But it was Leo who picked up the win when he applied the final hour, making him the winner. So that means he will have to face against, of course, Will Carver to pick up, to get a shot of the undisputed British Cruiserweight title. But we'll see what happens until then. So my thoughts of the show, pretty amazing. I like the wrestlers. Very interesting lineup. But we'll just leave things as it is. So let's move on with the next RevPro show, and I believe this one is live in Sheffield. You know, yeah. Okay, as we continue with more with RevPro, now this show took place the day after the British J-Cup on September 28th. So they head up to Sheffield for the September 29th event. Now, no title matches on this one, but however, certain type of matches did take place. We have our first match. We have Jay Joshua taking on Luke Jacobs in a non-title match. Same scenario as Manders. If Joshua actually defeats Jacobs in a non-title match, he can get an opportunity of the undisputed British Heavyweight Championship. But however, because this was a bit of a hoss fight, it was Luke Jacobs who showed his powerhouse, and just like with a big lariat, in order to pick up the win. Now, our next match, we have a bit of the Battle of the Robbies. And if you guys don't know what I'm referring to, I'm talking about Robbie X and Robbie Eagles, the sniper of the sky. So basically, that's the whole point. Robbie, the Battle of the Robbies. So basically, that's how it was. But excellent high flyers. I mean, these two men were involved in the British J Cup, but did not made it past through the first round. But however, there was a moment where the pinfall that was led by Robbie X, but he did grab Eagles' tights. The ref did not see it. But however, Robbie put it out on him, telling him that he could actually that he should make his claim for reaching the top because he's one of the best wrestlers. Now, there were those recently that recently talked on social media that they have their suspicious feeling that Robbie X could be possibly a new member of TMDK. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. But he's telling him, try to reach for a shot of the undisputed Cruiserweight title. So that's something that he kind of put it out for him. But we'll see where that leads. Now, this guy was not scheduled to be there. Charlie Sterling was there, but he got into a scuffle with both JJ Gill, and it became a match. Still wearing their street clothes, just to be reiterating this. But however, this match kind of ended in a double countout after 5 minutes or 20 minutes. Sterling walked away like the coward with his tail between his legs, while JJ Gill tried to chase after him. So that pretty much sets it up. Now, our next match, we have a 2 out of 3 falls match. We have Ricky Knight Jr., you may know him as Soraya's nephew, taking on Mike Di Vecino. I think hopefully I pronounced it right. First fall goes to Ricky Knight, or should I say RKJ. Don't remember what he put, but the second fall, well, this one was a bit of a tough one because many would assume that when it comes to, someone like RKJ picking up the first fall, the next fall will definitely go with, of course, Mike. But no, it did not. Mike defeated, RKJ defeated Mike with a what was it? With a Rishi driver or something like that, and just like that, he picked up the win. And of course, he put out a promo after that, after defeating, of course, Mike, and he said that he wants to have another shot of the undisputed British heavyweight title, but there's one person that is now on his mind, and that is of course Michael Oku. So basically, we'll be seeing that. However, we haven't seen Michael Oku for some time, I believe, but we'll see what happens until then. Now, our next match, we have Joshua Jones versus one called Manders. Another house fight type of match you probably would enjoy. Powerhouse. But, however, Manders was the one who walked away with a short-range lariat. And just like that, it was over, picking up the win. Our second match, we have Zozaya versus Barbaro Cavernario. So, basically, nothing too significant of the match. But, however, there was a moment near the end where Barbaro actually low-blowed Zozaya to pick up the win, but he applied the half crab in order to pick up the win. Now, our next match is a very interesting one. We had True and Lacey teaming up with the current undisputed British Cruiserweight champion Will Carver to take on Lio Rush, Dante Martin, and Cameron Kai. Now, however, as you know, Carver does not want to contend with Kai, but he has to contend with Lio Rush since he is the winner of the British J Cup. So that's one of the main reasons that's happening. But however, of course, Kai was able to pull off the impossible when he pinned Carver. Now, this is the last thing Carver wants. Now, I don't know when Lio Rush will cash in his opportunity for the undisputed British Cruiserweight title, but Kai may have an opportunity down the line once that settles. So we'll see what happens until then with those guys. Show did pretty well, nothing too big, but yes. I think that's pretty much it right now with that. So I believe it's time to move on with our last review, Ring of Honor. Okay, Ring of Honor, our final review. It opened up with a proving ground match for the ROH World Six-Man Tag Team titles. Now, of course, Dustin Rhodes and the Von Erichs, Ross and Marshall will have to face against the premier athletes. Well, 2/3 of them, because they had Arya Davari and Tony Nese, along with that Weasel, Smart Mark Sterling, or let's just call him Weasel Sterling. He decided to get involved in this one. Now, of course, there's always a game plan from Sterling. Of course, their objective is to obtain ROH gold. That has always been the case. But the real question is, did it make a difference? Well, the honest question, no, because Sterling was the one who suffered the consequences after Dustin Rhodes put him out of his misery and picked up the win. So, basically, that lost their chances to have an opportunity of the six-man tag team titles. Now, our next match, we have the Native Beast versus Katie Arquette. Well, I can tell you this match ended with Nyla Rose when she applied the Beast Bomb, which was no secret. Now, Lexi Neer, as you know, she is the official bestie of our current ROH Women's Champion, Athena. Well, she says she wants to celebrate, of course, Athena's longest reigning Ring of Honor Women's title reign. So, but one person seems not happy with how things have been going. Basically, we're talking about Billy Starks. As you know, Billy Starks has not been in good terms with Athena recently due to the fact that she lost the ROH women's title, women's television title. But yeah, so this could be the beginning of course, the dissolve between Athena and, of course, Billy Starks. But Athena implored Lexi to try to talk to her. Well, we'll see how that rolls up. But however, there is one problem that I think Athena is overlooking, and it's the one person that you don't want to contend because she is scary as hell. We're talking about Abaddon. So, yep, that's going to be a very interesting thing. Now, our next match, we have Anthony Henry along with his second cousin by marriage, Beef, taking on Anthony Katana and Wes Barkley. Now, of course, we've been seeing that whole thing with Anthony Henry and Beef. I thought it was a very interesting story. Of course, Anthony Henry doesn't want to contend with Beef that much, but Beef is a reliable tag partner. Of course, the one partner that, of course, Anthony Henry trusts the most is JD Drake, but he has to settle with Beef. But it was, of course, uh, Henry with the double foot stomp onto Barkley to pick up the win. Now, our next match, we have the Infantry versus the Outrunners. Now, we know this is not the first rodeo between them. Last time, of course, the Infantry had a win against them. But last time, we didn't know they interacted with it when the Infantry saved them from the Iron Savages. But, however, this was different. Now, many of you may think in some capacity that the Infantry would walk away. But nope, it was the total recall on the captain Sean Dean to pick up the win. But however, like they acted like sore losers, like not happy with the results, and they just gave him the code of honor and then just left by tapping him on the shoulder. Now I understand the whole like, yeah, you lost, but don't take your frustrations out on them. I mean, this was just a match. I mean, it's not one of the bigger matches where someone is going to be declared as the next #1 contenders for the ROH tag team titles. But yeah. Our main event is the ROH World Title. We have, of course, Matt Taven, a former World Title champion, versus Mark Briscoe. So, of course, these two guys have some history, dating back when, of course, the Briscoes and all that. But, of course, we know Bennett was going to be there to help him out, to ensure that somehow, some way, he walks away with the win. But nope, the infamous Driller, Jay Driller, sealed the deal for Mark Briscoe to pick up the win. So now he contempt dealing with Taven. Now he has contempt next week against, of course, Chris Jericho. So we'll see what happens on that time. But for now, that's pretty much what happened in ROH. It's time for some news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So let's begin with, of course, with the GCW stuff on the upcoming events from the promotions. Now, as you know, we will have the 2-night event in Atlantic City on the 12th and 13th of October for Fight Club. On night 1, it was announced that, of course, Violet J from Insane Clown Posse will be there for night 1. Now, as for night 2 on the 13th of October, it was announced that John Wayne Murdoch will be in action to take on Big Lou Nixon. So that's pretty much it. And of course, as you know, we have the Bloodsport event taking place on November 24th in Jersey City. Mike Bailey, Mosh Slamovich, and Matt Mikowski will be involved. Another new show has been announced for the month of November in Brooklyn called You Wouldn't Understand. So we haven't heard yet who's going to be involved. I'm sure soon we'll get that involved. AEW has announced for the 0 Hour in Wrestle Dream that the World Television title will be defended. Atlantis Jr. will defend his belt against the Machine, Brian Cage. Maple Leaf Pro has announced for the Forge of Excellence from the 2-day event on the 19th and 20th of October. Former NXT UK star Rohan Raja will be there as well. If you guys remember, he was a wrestler that was handpicked to go to the NXT UK, where he teamed up with Charlie Dempsey, and I forgot the other guy. But yes, so that's pretty much it. MLW for the Lucha Apocalypse taking place on the 9th of November. We have Esfinge, who's going to be there. And then finally, West Coast Pro announced another show taking place starting in January 10th. It's called the Only the Strong Survive. So know yet who's going to be involved. Now let's talk for some developments. You may have heard what's been going on in AEW. This one was reported by Fightful Select. As you know, we just saw MVP and Shelton Benjamin. And now Fightful Select reports that Bobby Lashley will now be All Elite. Now it seems that he signed his contract, but we still yet to see who will be showing up. Now, I know some people are saying this is really dumb of AEW doing something like this. Well, look, guys. WWE dropped the ball on this one. They should have continued on with her business, but no. But I understand where they're going to go. Moving on. Now, as you all know, not too long ago, Nikki Bella suffered a domestic violence in the hands of her husband, Artem. Let me give you guys a quick rundown what really happened. Artem actually took his frustrations out on Nikki when he discovered that he will not be returning for Dancing with the Stars. This led to a domestic abuse, domestic disturbance. He was arrested, and of course that um, Nikki Bella filed for divorce and filed for full custody of their son. And of course Artem is trying to determine they have joint custody. But I'm sure Nikki Bella, in my opinion, is like going over my dead body. However, it seems that there's more to their marriage that we don't know. Apparently, of course, Nikki Bella revealed that, of course, Artem has filed a restraining order, you know, on her. But however, it was revealed that in 2023 he was violent towards her when he grabbed her by the waist and pinned her in on the floor. But this is the most disturbing thing to me. Her son, or should I say, their son, was right there watching. I mean, this is a traumatic thing, and I have to say, look, I know there's going to be the whole he said, she said thing, but if this guy really is violent, I feel bad for Nikki for not seeing the kind of man he was. I mean, I'm sure he was a quite charming dude and all, but sometimes there are men out there who like to be charming from the very beginning, and then they become straight up, pardon my language, assholes. But I hope Nikki gets the help she needs in order to get away from that dude. But I'm not taking sides here, but I don't like when it comes to men beating up women. It disgusts me. You know, it makes me feel like I just want to punch the guy in the face, showing that he is messed up. Now, many of you remember this not too long ago. Next week, we will Marvelous will be in West Coast Pro Academy on, of course, Thursday, um, October 10th for the tryout. Now, these guys will be helping out financially for the flight and for your place to stay. So if you know any wrestlers in your vicinity that are interested of trying out, uh, go email them on West Coast Pro Wrestling at gmail.com. So I'll repeat that again, West Coast Pro Wrestling at gmail.com. So let your friends know. Now, for some interesting things, Eric Young was on Chris Van Vliet recently, talked about that in 2023 he was supposed to be involved with Bray Wyatt and his brother Bo, and this is what he said about it. Yeah, I think the original idea was me, Bray, and Bo as a trio. That was what I was told from Hunter, basically. Obviously, I'm gonna jump at on that. I'm friends with both of those guys. Creatively, it would have been an unbelievable opportunity working there, working in the main roster, wrestling all over the world with those two guys that I got along with. So yeah, it turns out that he was gonna be part of that, but whatever reason, that never came through. I wouldn't be surprised if Vince or any of his flunkies were involved. Now, Tam Nakano recently talked about, of course, recently with Zu Suzuki, as you know, she talked about that she created a doll based out of her, so that's kind of interesting. But however, of course, Tam Nakano noticed how frustration Zuzu has been, and she's resulting that this happened after she lost to Micah, and this is what she had to say. All she needs to do is challenge again and again after losing to Micah. As long as she kept blaming others, she will never wear the red belt. And I think that's why Zuzu says that. Because she knows that her wrestling half-hearted. That's the difference between me and who worn this belt twice. Zuzu, who has never worn it. So she thinks that she's been frustrated ever since losing. I remember how it was frustrating. So yeah. Now, if you guys now remember, Ryohei Oiwa made his return to New Japan when he spent almost a year or so in Noah on his excursion. However, there was a main reason why he actually teamed up with TMDK with Zack Sabre Jr. And this is what was told. Oiwa says that he joined TMDK because of Yoshinari Ogawa. Ogawa said that he stayed in Noah. He could surpass Kiyomiya under his training. However, Oiwa didn't have that kind of time. So he chose TMDK because Zack is in Oiwa's Ogawa's student, and Ogawa's style is therefore there. So if you guys remember, Yoshinari Ogawa, he is this veteran wrestler who just recently retired. He trained Zack Sabre Jr. So Oiwa felt like, okay, I can learn from Zack because he was one of his students. So it makes perfect sense. As you all know, recently there's been that one documentary video in Netflix series about Vince McMahon. A lot of people has been talking about certain things regarding that. Well, uh, Owen Hart's widow Martha actually spoke about this, and this is what she said: "No one involved in the making of this documentary attempted to contact me for comment. I continue to hold WWE and its then management responsible for Owen's death." Yeah, so basically that's always been the case. Now, as you know, recently some people were saying that they understand Vince saying that people were not there to see a dead body during the show, and they had to continue on. But like I said before, Jim Cornette believed that it was a piss poor job, that they should have stopped it in the conducting an investigation, and nothing was done right. So I don't blame Martha Hart for feeling that way. I know WWE fans are not happy that the Owen Hart name is being used in AEW. Well, like I said, guys, if you have a problem with it, get a petition to have Vince just say, yes, it's our fault. But he's not going to do that. So, yeah. So I think that's pretty much it what we have. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we may have AEW Rampage and NXT Level Up. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to, of course, continue see if there's any other reviews. However, I'm also this coming weekend I will be try to finish up what I started. As you all know, back on September 21st, I attended West Coast Pro event at this wrestling school not that far from where I live. But I'll get that done. I'm trying to get my thoughts together on it, rewatch certain footage that I did, and we'll go from there. So stay tuned for that one. That's one's called DWZ at the wrestling events, and I'm sure many of you are gonna have a good time with that video. So let's see how things will turn out. So, but for now, we'll end things right there and we move forward. Until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.